Welcome to freefocusdance.com. I'm Chris Reid, and we're going over basic acrobatic movements today. Right now, we're going to go over how to transition from your handstand to your headstand. In order to go from handstand to headstand, I need to bend my elbows, squeeze my core, and lower onto my head. Boom. Now, we're upside down at this point. So, too much pressure too quickly on the top of the head is not going to be very good for the neck. So we have to make sure that our muscles are contracting the whole time so we can control it. Note, you have to have a good handstand and a good headstand before attempting this move. It requires a lot of focus and a lot of strength. You can do it explosively, of course, but that descent has to be controlled. Why? It's the top of your head hitting the floor with the assistance of gravity. So the most important part is going to be that pushing strength, right? Your handstand has got to be on point, and you have to at least understand the concept of a handstand push-up. The most important thing to remember is the squeezing of the core. The muscles have to be in contraction, and exhaling while your knees are coming down. The knees have to bend at the same time that the elbows bend, so you can control that descent coming all the way down and landing on the top of your head. This exercise is going to assist with this transition probably the most. After this will be the wall, but do this one first. Pretend you're already in your handstand. You have one leg in the air like so. From here, you're going to bend your elbows and try to place the top of your head on the floor as softly as possible. Reposition your hands, then go to your tripod. Because more often than not, or more likely than not, you're going to end up in tripod once you transition from handstand to headstand. I'll do it one more time, and I'll do the opposite leg. This is my mock handstand, right? I'm gonna bend my elbows, and as you can see, my knees are already bent. I'm touching the top of my head onto the floor as softly as possible. I place my hands in position for my tripod. I go into my tripod, come right back down. Same thing can be said for the wall. I kick into my handstand on the wall. As I lower, the top of my head goes on the floor. I reposition my hands. My knees go into my tripod. One more time. I kick up to my handstand on the wall. I'm using the wall as I descend. It's to give it the same structure as the move, but takes away a lot of the difficulty. I lower to the top of my head, touches the floor softly, reposition my hands to my tripod, knee on elbow, and then I come down. I'm Chris Reid, and that was the transition from handstand to headstand. Welcome to freefocusdance.com. I'm Chris Reid, and we're doing basic acrobatic movement. Now we're going to learn the cartwheel headstand. In order to do this move, you need to have a cartwheel and you need to have a headstand. Here we go. Assuming you have both, start low. That's my suggestion, just to get used to it. I'm going to start low from either a kneeling position or a low squat. Now, I like to think about doing any type of movement as distance. If I do it traveling, it's going to be way easier to do or easier to understand if I want to apply it in the same place. So if I want to do my cartwheel headstand, I put one hand on the ground, I go into my headstand laterally. That means that the same leg is going to kick as if I was doing a regular cartwheel. How do we do a cartwheel? 1, 2. My head goes on the floor. And now both legs are going to kick. 3, 4, and I come right back up. One more time. Remember how to do your cartwheel. 1, 2, kick, kick, stand. The same principles apply for when you're on your head, except we just have one extra step. So I'm nice and low, because instead of doing my cartwheel up here, I'm gonna be doing my cartwheel down here. First hand, second hand, top of the head on the floor. I'm getting ready to balance. I'm stabilizing so that I can balance. My first leg kicks, my second leg lands, I stand back up. Do you have to stand back up? No, it's not a necessity. The meat and potatoes of the movement is being on your head and having your legs pass. 1, 2, just like that. So, one more time, I'm in my low position. I put my hand on the floor, my other hand travels, top of the head. I prepare to stabilize. Kick 1, kick 2. I can stay low if I want to. I'm Chris Reid, and that is the cartwheel headstand. Welcome to freefocusdance.com. I'm Chris Reid, and we're going over basic acrobatic movements. Now, we're going to go from headstand to handstand. When I'm in my headstand, or my tripod for that matter, tripod is going to help the most to understand it. You can also do your headstand here, but you're using a lot of energy, and unless you're doing it in the moment for like a performance or something like that, it's just not necessary. What I'm going to do is extend my legs the same way I would do a regular headstand. But this time, I'm going to push explosively from my hands and push, push, push until I get into my handstand. I'm pushing through my legs and my hands simultaneously and then flexing to stabilize in my hands. Like so. One more time. It's all pushing strength. I'm in my tripod. My knees are bent. My hands are bent, obviously, on my tripod. When I go to push from my hands, I almost do a little jump, a little push from my hips, and that's what sends me up. Very similar to how you do it in hip-hops. I'm in my headstand, knees on elbows. I'm getting ready to push. This is my push. So I really need to squeeze from my stomach. I push through my hands, push through my legs explosively at the same time. Push, and then I stabilize in my handstand. It's going to be a lot harder if you try to do it on the wall, because the friction of the wall is going to get in the way. You can do it to gain strength, but it's not the same move. It's not a slow burn strength. It's explosive. Boom. It's like a punch. Boom. Just push right up from your headstand into your handstand. I'll do it one more time. I'm in my tripod. I'm stabilizing here. I'm pushing through my hands. As soon as I remove my knees from my elbows, I'm pushing through my hands, pushing through my feet, keeping everything super tight, and going straight to my handstand. So while I'm in my tripod position, my feet are facing the ceiling. I'm pulling my toes up. I'm flexing my feet, and it's almost like I want to try to kick a hole through the ceiling if it was low. I'm pushing my legs explosively up, and that's straight up. Not at an angle, not forward like a pike position, but straight up. Top of the head is on the floor. I'm in my tripod position. I'm flexing my toes. As I flex my toes, I push my feet straight up like this. Straight up, the same way I do my headstand. Except at the same time, I'm pushing through my hands and coming straight up into my handstand. My feet pressing straight up into the ceiling is what locks me in place, so I can easily stabilize in my handstand. I'm pushing up and only up. If I push outwards, I'm not gonna have my weight balanced enough over my shoulders, and I'm just gonna fall. It's very, very important that I try to push up. Imagine a target going up and straight up. This is what happens if I try to push at an angle. If I try to push at an angle, I can't even go up. I can't even go up. I'm gonna try it. I fall immediately. I fall immediately. Let me try pushing straight up. Angling my feet so that they're 100% on top like I'm doing my headstand. Straight, whoa, straight up. I almost over-rotated and went straight into a scorpion. That's a completely different move. I'm gonna show you one more time. Straight up. Straight. Just like that. I'm Chris Reid, and that was a transition from headstand to handstand.